guys, welcome out tonight to our At Home series. We're actually streaming all the way from the great city of Calcalo, which is really not that far out, but some people do say it is. Tonight we're going to be showing you how to make a butter chicken from scratch. It's so easy these days just going to your local supermarket and buying a tin can of Pattaks, but you really don't know what's in there, so we're going to make one straight from scratch. And by the way, if you don't know who we are, my name's Alex.
I'm Hannah.
And yeah, Hannah's pretty much the Iron Chef tonight, and I'm just pretty much her assistant, so hope you enjoy it.
Alright, so to make butter chicken, you need to get 750 grams of chicken breast. You have to cut it into bite sizes. Reasoning for that is because if you cut it too big, it's going to be too hard to eat. So to make the marinade, so traditionally when you make butter chicken, you marinate the sauce for 3 hours first and then you do it. So what I'll do is I'll marinate the sauce now and then we'll go and get the other one that we've already pre-made. So to marinate the chicken, you need 1 cup of plain yogurt. It doesn't have to be any particular yogurt. It can be plain yogurt. Preference is not Greek yogurt because it doesn't taste as good that way.
It's got a bit of an extra tang to it.
You need 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Tablespoon, yep. So you just add it in. 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, which is this one. Nope, turmeric, that one.
So for all the Indian people out there, if you don't know what turmeric powder is, it's what we call haldi. So
2 teaspoons of, I always say this wrong, how do I say it?
what one?
The garam masala.
There you go, garam masala. So it's pretty much just like a seasoning. So you can buy garam masala at your local Coles. Just mine, because it is just a little bit more spicy than normal seasoning. You can actually go to other Indian stores and just get masala on its own. Each type of masala does have its different flavour as well. Me personally, I like my mum's masala. Shout out to my mum.
You need to add half a teaspoon of chili powder. It sounds like a lot, but it's not really a lot. 1 tablespoon of ground cumin. Teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of cumin. Then you add 1 tablespoon of ginger. So we're using ginger paste. You can use any other type of ginger as long as it's a tablespoon, sorry. 2 cloves of garlic crushed, so you kind of want it in that size. You don't want it any bigger than that. So add that in, make sure it's all added. And the fun part is mixing it. So you just want to mix everything in so your chicken looks really marinated. It's kind of hard to do while holding the bowl up, but. So I want it to look something like that, very well mixed in. So once that's done, once it's looking like that, that then gets wrapped up and we put it in the fridge for 3 hours. Like I said, we pre-made one earlier. So this is what it should look like once it's been marinated, this sort of texture and mixture. As you can see, you will need to mix it a little bit before you put it on the fry pan, but that's what you want it to be looking like. Now we go over to the fry pan, if this is on. So when you start cooking, make sure your pan is on hot, otherwise the chicken's gonna be raw and disgusting. I know this from experience. Hey, I'm learning. I need another spoon. Okay, so once your pan is nice and hot, add your chicken in. So the way to cook it, there's actually sort of 3 steps to this. You want to cook the chicken with the marinade first before you add anything else. The reason for that is you don't want to serve raw chicken, basically, that's the main reason. And And I think I should have waited a little bit longer before I put my chicken on, but that's okay, we can make that work. So you want to be mixing the chicken, because if you don't mix the chicken, it's all going to go brown on one spot and not anywhere else. So you kind of just want to really make sure you're mixing it in properly. Now 750 grams of chicken, it can serve, depending on how big of eaters you guys are, it can serve up to 4 people, 5 people, depending on how much chicken you have and depending on how much. But nothing else changed, so the amount of chicken that you add is the same amount no matter how much. The spices and the herbs don't change, but the amount of chicken does. There we go, now it's starting to heat up a little bit. Yeah. So part of this, so the next steps are actually in sort of 3 steps, because once the chicken's cooked, you then add tomato puree. So like 1 cup of tomato puree, which is a jar of this. So you add that in once your chicken's a bit more cooked. I reckon we'll add maybe a little bit longer.
I can take over.
Yeah. So Alex is going to add that in it's going to add a cup of tomato puree if it wants to come out, and it doesn't. Technical difficulties. So I know a lot of you will probably be wondering, wait, how does the butter chicken turn to the orange color? It's all the bits and pieces you add to it. The only reason I learned this is the first time I made this recipe, I was like, it's red, it's not orange, what have I done wrong? And then I figured out where I went wrong. So like I said, 1 cup of tomato puree. Can I add this in now?
Just give it a little bit more.
Chicken is very unpredictable. You never know how long it will take to cook through. So what I might do while we're waiting for the chicken to puree is I'll tell you a little bit about my testimony. So I was born and raised in a Christian home in Footscray. I lived with my mum and dad and sister. I grew up going to church. You know, I was a normal kid. I wasn't that naughty. I didn't go out partying, things like that. But I lived at home with my parents, and I grew up going to church knowing, you know, right from wrong. But it didn't really mean anything to me because I would go to church every Sunday, every Wednesday. It was like, meh, same old. It didn't really mean much to me. But it wasn't until I turned about 16. We're going to add the tomato in now, if it wants to come out. It wasn't until I turned about 16 that a pastor preached a sermon about getting into heaven on your own, not because of your parents, not because of who you are, but only if you had a personal relationship with Jesus. So I remember that night going, oh, wait, what? I can't get in on my parents? That was like, it was a light bulb moment. It was a bit of a, oh, okay, fair enough. So that night at the altar call, I lifted my hand and said the sinner's prayer and asked Jesus into my heart, because I didn't like the alternative, which was going to hell, which wasn't cool. And then, yeah, so then fast forward 16, you know, God blessed me with a job, things like that. 21, I ended up getting married and moving to Thomastown. And yeah, so I've been in Thomastown for 3 years now. So what we're doing while the tomato is there, that we also add the cream. So for cream, whoopsie-daisy, it's 1 cup of thickened cream. The reason why it's thickened cream, because normal cream makes it gross. So you want to add 1 cup of the thickened cream. Add it in. Now the cream is what will kind of help give it its yellowy texture. And we've got to add ghee. So ghee is...
It's kind of like a concentrated butter.
Yeah, that. So for ghee, you add 2 tablespoons. When I first heard the recipe needed this, I was like, what? Once we've added that, then we need to add 1 tablespoon of sugar. I know, a lot of sugar. 1 tablespoon of sugar. and then 1 1/4 cup, teaspoons of salt. Where's my salt? There it is. So 1 1/4 of salt. There you go. So once you've added all of those ingredients in and you've given your pot a chance to mix and mixed everything through, you then let the sauce simmer on a low heat until it thickens.
Like I know with like some people, their spice tolerance may not be as good as other people. So the way that you can like counteract it is instead of like reducing the amount of like chili you put in it, you put more yogurt. Especially if you do like it more creamier as well. If you like it really tomatoey, just always add more tomato. I know with a lot of Indian recipes, because I did grow up in like an Indian home, we never did use any measuring cups or spoons. Just bang, 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 just throw whatever you want in there. So yeah, it's really up to your liking, but this is kind of like what Hannah came up with.
Wendy has a question. What butter chicken do you prefer, mine or your mum's?
My mum doesn't know how to make butter chicken. It's not, in her opinion, butter chicken isn't really an Indian food. It's kind of like a westernized curry. So.
Yeah. Okay, so now we can, if you want to get a bit of a thing on the chicken, now that it's kind of thick a little bit, we're going to leave it, we'll put a lid on it, and we'll leave it as is. Yep, on low heat. Because you want it to simmer. So you don't want it to be like boiling, but you don't want it to simmer. You don't want it to overboil. So now we're going to move over to this side of the kitchen, and now this is the fun part, making roti. Roti is Indian flatbread. There's different types, but the one I'm making is very plain and simple. Bear with me, I'm still getting my head around this recipe. So my mother-in-law, Sindula, taught me how to make this, and she doesn't use measurements, but in regards to how much flour you add to it, it all depends on how many people you're making it, how many rotis you're planning on making. So what I do is, you need plain flour, oil, and boiling water. So you do about a bowl full, so that's classified as one. If you really want to go, typical measurements, you can add like 2 cups of flour if you really want to go. So you need to sift the flour to make it a little bit more easy to do. So you want to do this. So I'm going to do two bowlfuls. 2 bowlfuls? I don't know what you call them. 2 bowlfuls of plain flour. And again, if you need to, this recipe is actually really easy, so you can make more as you go. It's not like it takes an hour to do it. It's really quickly, as long as you make sure your frying pan is on high. Okay, now that you've done the flour, now the fun part. This is the part where everyone gets a bit worried because you have to use boiling warm water. The reason for that is because when you do lukewarm water, it doesn't really do it. So you want to add the water slowly. You don't want to go all water too quickly, otherwise it just turns into, I can't think of a word, gross. So as you can see, there's not really a lot of water, so you want to add a bit more. The reason why I'm using the spoon is because, knowing my luck, if I did my hands, I would burn myself. So you want to really sort of mix it in. I think I'm going to need more water because this didn't quite work out the way. A little bit more water. So if you want to go like water, you kind of maybe do maybe a cup, maybe half a cup, depending on how much flour you have. So now that it's a little bit more sticky, now the fun part becomes. Mix it a little bit, and then Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties. Okay, so what I've done, so after you've added the water in and once you've mixed it with the spoon, you then need to get your hands in and you need to start kneading the dough. So you want to kind of bring all the dough together. This is the messy part. If any of you have made Play-Doh or anything like that, it's kind of similar to that. So you really just want to grab all the loose bits of flour, put it together, and make sure that it's all really well mixed in. Once you've done this, the next step is add oil, but because my dough is not sticking, give me 2 seconds, I need to add some more water. Yeah, just a little bit, like a tiny bit. Yeah, that's enough. Cool. There we go. Alrighty. So as you can see, the dough is sort of forming and becoming very sticky on my hands, which is great. That's what you want. So now that the dough is come together, we now add oil. And again, there are no measurements, so it's kind of, do you want to pour the oil? You want to add oil to make the dough shiny. That's the only way I can explain it. There's not really a measurement. Yep, on top. So you want to just get rid of that excess. So you really want to knead the dough. So when you do knead the dough, you need to be doing it for quite a while because the more you do it, the softer the dough becomes. Or so says my mother-in-law, I don't know, that one. So as you can see, you can kind of tell the difference now once we've added the oil in. And I need to get this dough off my hands because that doesn't help. I can't feel anything. Sorry guys, don't like sticky hands. Downside to cooking. No, I'm doing it by hand. So once your dough is kneaded all the way through, you want it to be very soft. So a good way to do that is by actually using your knuckles and pushing into the dough because it releases the air, I think, is the method behind that. So the way you know if your dough is good enough to make is you literally poke your finger through the middle. If your finger comes up clear, which mine is not, it means it's good to go. So I need to do a little bit more because my finger didn't come up clear. Yeah, maybe a little bit. You can add more oil, but you know, be mindful of how much oil you add because you don't want it to be so slimy that the dough slips out of your hands, like mine is currently now. I think you added too much oil. This cuts the kneading time in half. Oh, we're back. Okay, so we're back. Okay, we're going? All right, sorry guys, we're back. All right, so while we were having the technical difficulties, I've actually kneaded the dough. So now when I put my finger in, my finger comes up clear. So the next trick, camera, you might want to zoom in on this because you need to, this is where it becomes a bit fiddly. So depending on how big you want to make your roti is depending on how big your ball of dough is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll it out into a circle. You can make it smaller or bigger, and you want to have like a board where you've got flour already on there. so your dough doesn't stick. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna use your rolling pin, but you're not gonna go like hard on it. It's just gonna be lightly and slowly. Your aim is to make these rotis round, but I have a tendency to make mine all kinds of shapes. I've made some very interesting shapes. So you want it nice and thin, so you wanna be making sure, whoops, daisy, that doesn't happen. But you wanna make sure that your dough is thin and that it's rolling, nice and thin. So you want it almost like a pasta sheet thin. You may need to touch it because sometimes you'll find a spot that's not as thin as the rest. And there you go. Again, I never said I was good at making them round. So what I'll do is I will quickly make a few myself here. And then once we've made a few, we'll take it over to the fry pan and we will put it on to cook. Huh? Okay. All right, what we'll do is we'll go over to the fry pan now and we will cook one. Okay, so the trick with the fry pan is you have to make sure it's hot. You don't want it cold. Now, there are some people, like Alex and my mother-in-law, who can do this with their fingers. I'm not game enough, so I'm going to get myself a spatula and flip. And my spatula is missing. There we go. All right, so the trick with this is not quite hot enough. The way you know when your roti is cooked on the one side is you want it to sort of start bubbling in the dough. At the moment, it's starting to happen slowly here. You can't really tell, but you want it to sort of be bubbling, almost like pasta, sort of, or a pancake, like a pancake. So when you're cooking this, the reason why we also have butter sitting here on the side. The reason why you have butter is because it helps it not stick to your pan, even if you're using a non-stick pan. You can add whatever you want after the roti is cooked. You can have peanut butter, which Alex had the other day, which is quite interesting. You can have Nutella, you can have whatever you want. And let's see if you're deciding to. Yep, so that's, ouch, that was hot. That's kind of what you want it to look like. That's what you're looking for. And once you've flipped it, you need to remember to push the sides down because you want it to make sure it cooks all the way through. And now we wait again. So you want to do this, you want to do it on one side, on each side twice, and then you get the butter and you put it on. Once that's done, you put it on the side and it's good to go. Any questions? If anyone has questions, let me have a look. No, okay, no questions so far. It's actually a really easy recipe, surprisingly. I thought it was going to be really hard when I first did it because I'm not exactly the best chef in the world, but you know, that's half the fun. Oh dear. Oh, no, a little bit longer. So Alex is continuing to make some of the rotis now. Can't really see him, but he's over on that side of the camera. And now we wait. So you want to serve your butter chicken with rice, mainly with rice. Some people don't make rice, some people just do it, just the sauce themselves and the chicken. It depends on your taste, it depends on what you feel like doing. And, oh, there we go. Okay, so, all right, so I have flipped over my my roti onto the original side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press it down a little bit and then I'm going to get a bit of butter and you just wanna add a little bit onto your roti because it makes it not stick. I think that's the method behind it and I think it cooks a bit better. Oh, that's close. Almost lost my... So yeah, so you wanna do that and you do it again, just like that. And I need a plate that isn't being used. So you want to do that. So you're just letting the butter sit just for a little bit, just because it helps it a little, like cook a little bit more thorough. Through. And once it's done, you flip it over again to the buttered side. Oh my goodness, that was done well. Once it's done, take it off. So you just want a little bit, and voila, that's it. That's how you make a roti.
And then the butter chicken's done too.
And the butter chicken's done. So now this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like once it's all cooked through. I don't have space. This is what you want it to look like. So it's nice and thick. And That's the butter chicken. Now all you do is serve it up with some rice and you are good to go. That's pretty much it to my lovely butter chicken and roti recipe. Does anybody have any questions? No? No questions? Well, I must have done something right. Can you make a sandwich with tuna? What? With the roti, can you make a sandwich with tuna, chicken schnitzel, hamburger, lettuce, or is it just complimentary food at dinner time?
No, absolutely. I went to school a lot of times, and my parents would wrap me up a roti with like tuna in it, salad in it, potato. You can do all sorts of things. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, rotis are sometimes given the thing about it's only for like butter chicken and things like that, but no, like Alex said, it can go with whatever you want it to go with. And we're just going to see what it looks like once it's all done. And Alex has gotten the rice. Now, I know some people don't eat butter chicken with rice. Some people just eat it with the chicken and the roti bread. That's up to you. Me personally, I prefer using rice. I don't know, I can't eat it without rice. I don't know why. But yeah.
No, I need someone to taste it.
Yeah, who wants to be our taste tester? Oh, Bree's, excuse me, Bree's coming for a test. It will be hot, just a heads up.
Bree's gate crashed.
Yes, she's gate crashed. Is it nice?
It's actually so good.
Oh, good, I'm glad.
It tastes like the one from the restaurant.
Ha, I'm good. I'm not that good.
Yeah, it's good.
Is this a type of roti, hard or soft pastry like?
Depending on how you cook it. So if you do like pan it for a while, it does become a bit hard and crispy. But normally it is quite soft. It's kind of like it's very similar to Lebanese bread.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Kind of bendy, but a little bit crispy.
If any of you guys have had the one that Sindula makes, it's similar to that.
That
It's
one's just a bit crispy because I think the pan is just a little hot.
yeah. Just on that, when you do make the roti bread, you need, I forgot to mention it, but you start off with your fry pan on high, then you drop it down to low and cook on low. Otherwise you get very hard roti bread.
Garlic gives a good flavour too.
Yeah, it gives it a nice flavour and texture. Any other questions? Brianna's just disappeared with my bowl of food. That's cool. That's fine. Let's set the smoke alarms off, but okay.
Any variations to roti you can do?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
So answer the question that I just asked so they know what.
So there's a question that was brought up about is there any variations of roti that you can do?
That's fine.
So this is actually one of my dad's favorite sort of like roti breads. You can if you know what dal is,
Okay.
which is like a split pea soup, you can actually like if you
It's too thick.
I don't know how you do it, but you can actually make a roti with dal inside it,
It's too thick.
and it's so good. So yeah, oh, that's right. So yeah, that's really good.
What other breads? Like Indian breads.
Oh, so there's naan as well, naan bread. So that's cooked with self-raising flour. It does take a little bit longer to prepare. And with the naans, you can do garlic naan, cheese naan, butter naan. They have all sorts of different flavors. But just just for time restraints, I guess we have to do something quick and simple. And that was the roti. Yeah. If there is any more questions, please do shoot through. Oh yeah, your spices. You can buy them. You can buy a majority of these days at Coles because they expanded their horizons with the international section.
They actually have.
So like the ghee, we got that from Coles, the cumin seed powder, chili powder, and also the garam masala. It all came from Coles, but growing up, my parents usually just got them from the local Indian stores, like a million in Thomastown, so I'm pretty sure you could find one, and probably whatever area you're at, even if you are even in Calcutta, you could probably find it as well.
What's the not hot version of garam masala?
Just normal masala. So the actual word garam masala means hot spice. Like garam means hot. So, so if you just buy masala, which is just spice.
Is this the spicy?
No, it cuts. If you buy the normal masala, it just cuts the spice levels out. Any more questions? No. Must have been a very easy recipe.
Alright, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. We do appreciate you guys watching. I hope it was something that you could probably use in your kitchen to feed your families, because I do know that there are a lot of people that do like butter chicken. I'm pretty sure there will be a new episode coming out very soon in the series. Hashtag the Francos. I'm joking. But yeah, if you do, just let Pastor Alan know. We are the Potters House Christian Church. We are located in Thomastown. We do have church services as well on Wednesday nights, which is tomorrow night at 7:30. Please tune in, like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff, and check out our content as well. Thanks.